Gold and silver market update, June 14th, 2021, 7:45 p.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. Hey, my friends. And now, gold sold off. Look at that. Big time. Well, look at this. The selling went down as past the 200-day moving average, and buyers rallied this up. We closed, this candle closed below the 1880 point, which I had been talking about. And now if you look to the left here, we're kind of in parallel. We're above the 200-day moving average, which is now starting to slope down. We're still above the 200-day moving average, parallel with this, right around the 1660. Now we got a candle here, which is green, with not a lot of volume coming in. Maybe that has something to do with it being like 1:30 in the morning, going on 2 in the morning for Eastern Standard Time. So we will see how that plays out, and this might be a bit of a pullback. I've been paying attention to gold and silver since I can't remember if it was 2006. Or I really actively started paying attention 2009. So let's just say 2009, maybe a little bit earlier. So this tends to happen. There's a big run up and there's these big sell-offs, which makes things interesting. You don't necessarily have to trade the price action of gold and silver. You don't necessarily have to invest in the physical commodity. Either one, trading the price action, investing, either one of those, you can do them if you want. You don't have to. You can also use it as an indicator. Generally speaking, not 100% of the time, but a lot of times when gold goes up, the dollar goes down. When the dollar goes up, gold will go down. You could look at it like that. There's a few things that you could look at it as. You can look at it as people's general sense of well-being in the market. A lot of times, these precious metals are viewed as kind of like safe haven assets. The thing with the futures that some people talk about, though, is that allegedly, research the dynamics of it yourself, but allegedly it's possible for different entities in the marketplace to sell more futures contracts that are actually ounces of metal behind, and to the point where if you look up things like XYZ Bank pays fine for metals rigging, XYZ banks pay fine for spoofing futures trades. I don't know, stuff like that. You'll see different banks paying fees, fines, getting a little slap on the wrist for doing some stuff. What exactly they're doing, I don't know. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, I still find a way to capitalize on the markets. So you need to figure out if this is something that's you're interested in doing. If so, how are you going to apply it? I'll let you know that I think the easiest, the way that takes the least amount of financial intelligence is just buying the physical metal. Because you buy it, you got it. You got to do some research. You got to make sure you're buying it from a reputable dealer. There's other things to consider. But when you trade in futures, there's a lot of things that can go wrong on you. When you're investing in different aspects of mining stocks and royalty stocks, there's things that can go wrong. And I'm not saying there's nothing that could go wrong with the physical metal. However, there's a lot less things that can go wrong. And so look into that if that's something that interests you. And then we will take a look at silver. Silver also selling off, but you see really strong sideways. Even though this big sell-off, Was this yesterday? That's today. On today's tomorrow's trade today, depending on where you live, it's already selling off quite a bit, but still, still maintaining that 2750 range at the moment. And speaking of this, what I'm talking about today for someone, tomorrow for me, yada yada. If you watch some of these videos in the past, I kept explaining how here I live in Hawaii. I'm on Hawaiian Standard Time, which we're generally 4 or 5 hours, maybe it's 5 to 6. I can't remember. It depends on Eastern Standard Time. So generally the stock market is opening at like 4:30 or 3:30 in the morning, depending on daylight savings time. We don't change time over here when the mainland does. And so that puts a new candle starting when, for me, it's still the 14th, but where these markets are trading, it's on the 15th. And so I'm going to do things a little bit differently. Just going to show what's on the screen. Like the market update is going to be for whatever day it is for me. But if there's a certain candle on the screen, I'm just showing that candle. I need to make life a little bit easy for me. Speaking of which, that's a good example of what you have to do in order to be successful at trading and investing. You take the way the market is set up, and you look at your own life, and you figure out how to make it work. That's it. You got to do that. Any one-size-fits-all thing, unless you fit into that exact pigeonholed box that this person is creating it for, then the chances are high that you'll need to modify things a little bit. Like for me, I'm single. I don't have any kids. So for someone else that's married and maybe has 2 kids, their time availability to be looking at this stuff might be different. And you can think of all these different scenarios. Like right here, I'm in Hawaiian Standard Time. For me to try to day trade equities in the stock market isn't very fun if I need to be up at the open of the market. I've tried it. I don't like it, so I don't do it. I found a different strategy that works so I can get the amount of sleep I need, and I can still trade and make money the way that I want to. So you need to figure that out. But that's why your good buddy Brent is here, to help you realize that whatever three pattern that gives a 90% success rate and you can make X amount of money in just 4 days, none of that stuff effing matters if it doesn't fit into your lifestyle. So whatever these commercials are on YouTube, before you start spending a lot of money on that, I suggest really looking at your own lifestyle and thinking about your lifestyle and how you can get something to fit in. Because there's 2 things that you really need in order to make this happen on the personality side. Number 1, you need to be persistent. You need to keep at it. You need to continue this activity. And number 2, you need to correct. When you're continuing and something's not working, you start modifying and correcting. Be palatable so you can kind of adapt into what's going to work. For me, getting up at 3:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning in attempts to day trade, I did it, whatever, 6 months or whatever, but ultimately I couldn't be persistent at it. You know why? Because Mother Nature wants me sleeping. For better or for worse, that's the way it is. I'm not trying to swim against the tide. I'm looking at which way the tide's going. I'm swimming with the tide. Brent's natural biology wants Brent sleeping in later. Otherwise, I'm a grumpster. And you know what? I don't like being a grumpster. It's not fun. So no matter how much money I'm making, being a grumpster, it's not worth it for me. So, consider that. Consider what your lifestyle is. Consider what you might be able to do to put into it. And then before you start spending money on different trading programs and stuff, try to look at their sales pitch from that angle of trying to figure out what it is that they're offering and does it seem to fit into what you can do. So with that hopefully wisdom for some of you, give me some love. Show this video some love. Hit the thumbs up button for me. like the Facebook, like the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, go over to the Facebook group, join the Facebook group. I'm really just messing it up today. And go to the website, tradinginvestingstrategies.com. Put your email address in there. Please give me a reason to build out some emails to be sending to people. That's one thing that, as I'm building this out, that's one thing I've kind of been lacking. All right, I got stuff being posted on the Facebook group. I'm uploading videos to YouTube. All right, those things are being built out in a blog at the website. But you know what? Your good buddy Brent is lacking on the email side. So if you wouldn't mind, do me a little help, get on the email address so that way I can have a reason to, virtually slap myself and be like, hey, Brent, you got to get on it. That's how I like to do things. Finally, reach out. I'm talking to a couple people, expanding my network. I want to meet new people. So reach out. You guys have a fantastic night. As you can see, I'm stumbling over my words here, so I'm just going to shh.